make America great again.
Can Donald Trump do it this time around? Today's Trump, after a turbulent first presidency, has experienced 2 impeachments, 2 assassination attempts, and multiple court cases. He is now considered an astute and experienced politician, so will he keep his promises for his second rodeo? Here's what to expect. Trump says that he will end the Russo-Ukraine war in 24 hours. How he'll do it remains unclear. Trump's associates indicate this could possibly entail pushing Ukraine to cede territory through a diplomatic settlement, or Ukraine will have to give up its aspirations of being a NATO member. That's what Trump's Vice President-elect J.D. Vance is suggesting, along with establishing autonomous regions on either side of a demilitarized zone. With Europe's paltry relative funding and its feeble commitments to Ukraine, Trump is likely to say that this should be Europe's war to fight and not the US's to fund. From assassinating Iranian General Qasem Soleimani to hunting down Daesh leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, Trump's previous Middle East policy was a deck of wild cards. Under Trump's leadership, the US in 2017 formally recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, moving the US embassy to the city Palestinians have long dreamed of making their own capital. It was also during Trump's first presidency that he implemented the Abraham Accords, which thawed relations between Israel, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. Most recently, he has been critical of Israel's brutal war on Gaza and has projected himself as an alternative for Muslim Americans. Yet he has also been clear that he would deport pro-Hamas protesters. He enjoys a lot of support from the US evangelical Zionist movement. Overall, one can expect a pro-Israel stance from Trump, but also a hardline one on Iran. After all, he has threatened to blow the country to smithereens after US intelligence warned of threats from Tehran against his life.
Trump could make this better, or he could make it an awful lot worse. He could make it worse by siding with those in Netanyahu's cabinet who say, essentially, let's look to annex the West Bank, let's look to control Gaza, let's see if we can push the Palestinians out. We are not giving land to the Palestinians, and that is something that Netanyahu himself has said about not giving, creating a state for Palestinians. Trump could, though, be tempted, what to me is a more positive direction, of building on the Abraham Accords with the Emirates and other countries in his first term and saying, look, the big prize for the region and for Israel, and for me, is a deal with Saudi Arabia.
During Trump's first term in power, he levied 25% tariffs on selected goods from China, setting off a trade war. Now he has vowed to impose a 60% rate on Chinese goods. Compounding the US's tetchy relationship with China is Taiwan. Now Washington is legally obliged to help Taiwan in the event of a Chinese operation, a trend Trump continued in his first term. But he more recently suggested Taiwan should pay for US protection after accusing the island of stealing America's semiconductor business.
I think tariff and a much tougher trade approach towards China under the second Trump administration is a given. Whatever you think about Donald Trump, most of the time he does what he says. And it's very, very clear that he really loves tariffs. The question therefore really is how high the China tariff will be and how broad it will be.
In December 2024, Trump threatened to retake control of the Panama Canal after accusing Panama of charging exorbitant rates to US vessels using it. There's also concern over potential Chinese influence on the waterway. The canal has been under Panama's control since the signing of the Torrijos-Carter Treaties in 1977.
It was not given for the benefit of others by a token of cooperation, but it was given to Panama and to the people of Panama, but it has provisions. You got to treat us fairly, and they haven't treated us fairly. If the principles, both moral and legal, of this magnanimous gesture of giving are not followed, then we will demand that the Panama Canal be returned to the United States of America in full, quickly, and without question. I'm not going to stand for it.
In a Christmas 2024 post on Truth Social, Trump warned of heavy tariffs for Canada. He then jokingly suggested that Canada be annexed and become the US's 51st state. He then added to the joke, saying that if Canada were to become part of the US, its taxes would be halved, its businesses would make a great deal of money, and the entire region would be militarily protected by the US. In the same post, he then moved on to Greenland. Just like during his first term in office, Trump again hinted at wanting to buy the island.
Starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again.
Trump wants to cut taxes and regulations, reduce energy costs and interest rates. He is also promising a 10 to 20% tariff on imports, along with the steep tariffs on Chinese goods. Trump believes this will encourage US companies to produce more goods domestically, which will benefit American workers. Trump also wants the office of president to have more say over interest rates, which the Federal Reserve sets. Yet remember, by Trump's final economic quarter of his first presidency, the US economy had shrunk. He alleges the COVID-19 pandemic threw a wrench in his economic plans. The US government has for years been struggling to manage its southern border with Mexico. This is Trump's solution.
We are going to start the largest mass deportation in the history of our country because we have no choice. It's not sustainable.
That's up to 11 million people. And it's not like Trump wouldn't follow through. In 2017, he imposed a ban on immigrants from Muslim-majority countries. And in 2018, he suspended the right to petition asylum for migrants who cross the border illegally. Remember when Trump unsuccessfully attempted to undo the Affordable Care Act? He has since said he won't try to roll back Obamacare, which had expanded insurance to millions more Americans. He is also calling for a taxpayer-funded fertility treatment program, but Republicans in Congress would need to greenlight it first. Now we'll wait and see what he'll deliver during his first 100 days in office, and if it will be a presidency which will benefit the US and the rest of the world or not.